With reports of Russian atrocities in Ukraine mounting, the truth about Putin's invasion is beyond dispute. Much of the world agrees Putin's army has committed war crimes by blatantly attacking civilians in Ukraine, unless you happen to get your news in Russian. Then there's Tucker Carlson, who has accused news outlets of lying about what's really happening in Ukraine.
If news organizations are eagerly promoting lies about a war, then what can the rest of us believe? What can we know is true? And honestly, it's hard to know what is true. We can be sure that Russian soldiers have committed atrocities in Ukraine. There are countless pictures of that. Some number of them must be real. But we can also be dead certain the war is not, despite what they tell us, a childish tale of good versus evil. This is Eastern Europe, after all. Everything is a lot more complicated than it looks on American TV.
It's hard to know what is true, he said. The war is not, despite what they tell us, a childish tale of good versus evil, he said. A reminder that this is the same commentator who said in 2019 that he was rooting for Russia over Ukraine. Last week, Tucker Carlson tried to imply that some of what you are seeing has been fabricated and then amplified by news organizations. That sounds a lot like what we heard last week from Putin's spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, who said that the images of bodies of Ukrainian civilians lining the streets in the town of Bucha were, quote, a forgery aimed at denigrating the Russian army. But news organizations, including CNN, sent journalists to Bucha, where reporters saw with their very eyes, and a reminder, this video is disturbing, bodies lying in the streets and piled up in mass graves. Journalists also traveled to a train station in eastern Ukraine where at least 57 people were killed, including 5 children, after a Russian missile strike there. Ukrainian civilians were using the train to flee the violence in that part of the country. Bombing civilians at train stations and hospitals and schools are all part of Putin's war plan to bring the people of Ukraine to their knees. In Mariupol, there are reports of mobile crematoriums for the dead, and Russian forces, rather than allowing surviving civilians to evacuate to safety, are reportedly being forced into so-called filtration centers. That's right, you heard that correctly. Filtration centers in the east before moving them to Russia. As you ponder that, listen to this audio obtained by CNN that reveals Russian soldiers talking about intentionally killing civilians.
Да валите всех нахуй там, ебаный в рот, блядь.
Я понял. Тут
Чего
вся
вы
деревня в гражданстве.
наебы, блядь? Едет гражданская нахуй, в расход, сука, всех.
Slay them all. Slay them all. News organizations are not repeating lies, as Tucker Carlson put it. Innocent people, children, are being targeted in Ukraine. There is nothing childish about that. And journalists are putting their lives on the line to tell the truth. Something that you would think Tucker would know, considering some of the journalists injured or killed bravely reporting the truth work for Fox. Last week, Benjamin Hall of Fox News tweeted about the serious injuries that he suffered during his own coverage of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. 2 of Hall's colleagues were killed during that attack. It's been reported that journalists from other news organizations worked to move Hall to safety where he could receive medical care. Journalists are not doing all of this to repeat lies about what's happening in Ukraine. They are just trying to do their jobs and report the truth. The same truth that, yes, some refuse to see. The same truth that some refuse to share with their viewers. But looking away doesn't make it go away. So, as we did last week, we leave you with just the images of what has taken place this past week in Ukraine.